can I dig a bit deeper into that talent pool idea? Because a lot of clients, I mean, a lot of clients will think, oh yeah, I've got a lawyer, and they don't realize that the lawyers specialize, and governance is a totally different skill, and has to be done in a different way. I mean, I see a lot of lawyers who turn family kind of dynamics, they really want to turn it into a shareholders agreement. And what I say to my newish clients who are starting business, they say, oh, I need a shareholders agreement. I sometimes push them away and say, you might need a business plan first. You need to work out whether this dating period and the business has got legs, because, that's the thing that will take 100 decisions every week, and pivoting and changing to see what's going to happen. And then you can have your shareholders agreement. But the tail, some lawyers will have the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah, because that's a thing that they can write up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
They
yeah,
can pull from their files
it's a product. That's right.
and fill in the blanks.
Yeah. And I think what you said about the collaborating is really important. And it has to be genuine, and they have to trust each other, and they have
Yes.
to have some experience of working together, because, just putting four motivated, driven, successful people in a room for the first time, there's no guarantee, like you say, your board of directors, that they're going to work effectively, feel respected, be happy to be quiet, and not feel that they're being overlooked, and so on.
I think though the person on the team that often has the more difficult time being integrated is the qualitative, is the person kind of with my background,
Yeah.
because the quants feel that they've got this thing under control and they can't really see. If you're a real quant, you can't see the value. And I remember years ago, my company was bought by a bank, and one of the major rainmakers in this bank, and I got to tell you, he could market like you cannot imagine, didn't know what this psychologist is doing here. And he kind of made it clear in kind of some snarky comments about the value of this,
Mm.
until it was a very, very big client coming in as a prospect. And this client had mentioned that this client was having some trouble with the two sons. So, kind of as a routine thing, I think he decided to invite me into the meeting. Okay. And the meeting starts with his trying to say what he could do quantitatively, when she suddenly said, well, my real concern, and she shifted totally into the qual. An hour and a half later of qual talk, she was so thrilled with our company that she signed up. And boy, from that time on, he brought me in all the time. And at one particular time, my bank bought a bank and it was overseas. And he made me go to marketing overseas with him every single time he had to go over and do this marketing thing. And I got to tell you, he could do 7 meetings a day. He could take a breakfast meeting, a 10 o'clock in the morning coffee, a lunch, a tea, a dinner, and drinks later. I had to say to him, I'm in for three. Three is what I do. You pick the three. I'm not doing.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah. I'm not surprised he wanted to have you there, and I get that you would do three meetings because you need to be so hyper alert, doing the work that you do. When I'm wearing my quant hat, I'm not going through the motions, but I have done it many times, and 60-70%, I know what's going to be discussed, and how to manage that conversation. But you're alert for tells and signals and what's really going on underneath the surface. That's exhausting,
but
but
once
important
but
work.
once the quants have had an experience with what the qual brings to the team, it really is almost a one-shot learning.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely. It can be a totally different conversation, and the clients feel that they've got resources. They feel, um, I see sometimes clients come in and I'm thinking we're going to talk about something, but if they've just had a terrible row with a child, spouse, bad news in a family situation or something else, even if it's in the business, they need to unload. And it might be you're just being there to listen to them, help them process the thoughts. And it's the wrong thing to say, oh, sorry, can we come back to this shareholder agreement? That's what's scheduled. You've got the client in charge, and especially if they've got a team of people, they get to pick who's most important, who's most helpful rather in a particular meeting.
They need to take the lead.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And can I ask you your experience about brains trusts that actually do work? So, you know, what kind of how do they build up that collaborative spirit? Is it regular meetings? Is it presentations?
Now, probably the best example that of all the clients that I ever had is I had a client. This is one of the problems that sometimes gets people stuck with that brain trust idea is the cost.
Yeah.
Because now you're paying a lot of professionals to be talking to each other. Believe me, it is ultimately cost effective, but the client sometimes, you know, can't see that. That might be a stumbling block. We had a client, it was a wealthy client, there was a family office and a private trust company. And this client and there were several operating companies within the holding company. And every year, this client took us away for 2 days on a 2-day retreat, all the advisors. And at that meeting, the advisors strategically said, here's what we are seeing where we want the family to go. And here's the role that I would say I'll play. And everyone talked about the roles that they would play. It gave the advisors a chance to see that everyone was on the same page. We were all giving advice that was moving to whatever we had decided was strategically in the right mode for the client. But this was a sophisticated family. In my own personal experience, I can work very often. The attorneys will bring me in and they already know me. So we already have the attorney and myself having a relationship. We involve the client or maybe whoever else is a significant advisor to the family. They kind of get at it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I have a relationship with one. It's sort of in my experience that somebody that also works with the family, I generally at least know, or if the family just heard me speak and they come to me, one of their advisors that they're using probably knows of me, which has made it easier for me personally
Mm.
because I've already been sort of pre-qualified
Sure.
because of the kind of work that I do. So don't on a personal basis have not had much of a problem of pulling together a team and saying to the client, you need to pay for this.
Mm.
It's worth the money. Some of my colleagues, they come to me and they say, but the client balks at this, how do I manage it? So I must say that can be the challenges that maybe the client doesn't want to pay what they consider a double. Like if I call the attorney to talk about something, the attorney's got this little thing as you have it on your phone, you click the phone on for the minutes,
I try not to use it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
but they've got it. Okay. So if I call, they're going to click on that little buzzer, even if I am helping them
Of
with what
course.
they're planning to do, and they will bill the client.
Well, that's a whole other conversation, which I look forward to having with you, because the clients have got to see the cost benefit analysis, and they don't really like the fact that maybe nothing's been produced, and yet the time's ratcheting it up, and it creates a little bit of suspicion. So, no, in our firm we generally do fixed fee or retainer fees for that, and we meet regularly and we explain after the fact, well, this is what we've been doing, some of which you saw and some of which you haven't seen. But I think the
And that
smart ones get it.
That's very smart. And I will always say, if I feel like I need to talk to the attorney, I ask the client, do I have permission to call your attorney? Do I have
Yeah.
permission to call your accountant?
Yeah. And look, I think the smart ones get that prevention is better than cure, but
Yes.
prevention means changing your diet and not having that extra cookie, or going to the gym, or not having that extra glass of wine. So it's a bit puritanical and not that much fun, but I think we all know in our reflective moments that it is the right thing to do. And the thing with the teams is the brain's trust. You're right. You wouldn't. They need to spend a bit of time with each other, and things reveal themselves on the way in and out of meetings. I mean, I find that, and you need to have your radar up. And it's like, oh, if we hadn't been here, I wouldn't have known that you did that or you had that experience. So it's so important. Time in the market rather than timing the market is what I say to my financial people.
More complicated high wealth families. There's no one profession that can do it all.
Yeah.
They can't. The accountant can't do it all. The attorney can't do it all. The psychologist can't do it all. The management consultant can't do it all.
I love to be in a team. I definitely don't want to do it all. I think that's a real risk.
I do too. I agree.
Yeah, you've got to have extra resources, extra bench strength, and then also some succession plans. Interestingly, do you come across? I see a lot of this where a successful family, maybe they're in manufacturing or something, resources, and they go, I want my kids to have a slightly more middle class, settled, professional, clean life. I was the emergency physician. I want my kids to be the intensive care person. And often there's a lawyer. So I'm starting to talk to the lawyer who may not have that much experience in the real world and in practice, to be the natural, perhaps be groomed to become the mediator person if they have that cachet and acceptance within the family. They, we'll ask the lawyer, but the lawyer, if they've got a bit of time, they could develop these skills and be the in-house facilitator, chief learning officer.
The attorney?
Well, the child who wants to do law, but what's my role in life? Mom and dad are making the money. What's my role? Have you seen many children try and be the family think the child, because they've got a law degree, is a lawyer, but they may not have that much experience, so they need some training, I guess is my point.
Well, I'm hearing two different questions. I don't know what I'm really answering. The child that goes and becomes a lawyer can have the job within the family enterprise as an attorney if he or she is competent and there's an opening. They can bring their legal expertise to the family enterprise. Mm-hmm. What a child cannot do is bring the qualitative role, because the child is part of that qualitative dynamic.
Yeah.
So they can't play the whoever your qual leader is on the team. It can't be a family member.
Yeah.
It has to be neutral. But a family member could play the role. They could be the in-house attorney. They could be the in-house accountant if they have that level of skill set.
Yeah.
Very often, even in terms of law, you have the kid that goes to law school and he has a law degree, but the business is far too sophisticated for this young attorney. This young attorney's got to go out and be an attorney somewhere else.
I agree. Yeah, they need to be competent professionally.
But not just competent at the 101 level. They need to be competent at the 201 or the 301 level.
Yeah. Lee, thank you so much for your time today. I really got a lot out of that, as always. And I do recommend your book, particularly Legacy Family, but also hats off to you and Children of Paradise to my clients. And I've highlighted lots of sections and I've got little stickers on it. So congratulations on it. And I hope we can have a chat again before too long.
we can. Did you get enough? Did you get what you wanted about this concept of collaborative brain trusts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. More and more ideas are coming to me all the time, and I scribble them down, and I'll reach out when I've got a few more, if that's all right. But yeah, I mean, I'm a collaborative lawyer. I think in the US and Canada they've got this concept of collaborative law with a capital C, capital L. Have you heard of that?
Well, not no. I've heard more of it in the divorce in the
Yes,
area of family law.
yes, that's where it started, and it's fabulous, and it means that the couple who probably should have been having more conversations beforehand, at least at the change of their relationship, are having conversations, and they've brought it into succession in Australia, because one of the best things I do, I think, is help siblings have a prenup for siblings, because ultimately maybe we can talk about this in our next chat, the shared ownership agreement, which you talk about in your book, which people do not have. Part of it, I think, should be a potential exit plan, and a gentle one, or one that's all approved, so that they go, oh, okay, we've hit a stage of life. I want to live in Japan or the US. I'm not interested in coming to meetings. Can I respectfully get a reasonable, let's have an exit so that my kids can talk to your kids still going forward.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we talk about collaborative with a capital C, and which is that type of formal structure, and with the small c, which is in every conversation when you've got more than a couple of people. So let's talk again about that. But thank you again very much for your time at the end of your day over there in California.
Enjoy well, this is not your summer. I should say enjoy the rest of your winter because it's my summer.